Hey, you guys, and welcome to American Culture. So I'm about to have you watch this video, and I'm going to do a commentary on it with you. The reason why is because it goes back to what I was saying last week about how it's becoming rather impossible to date out here. Let's dive in, shall we?
A girl. And I remember I was like, yo, we should go on a date. I was getting ready to plan the date, but before we planned the date, we ended up getting on FaceTime.
I'm going to stop him right there. You see, if you asked me to go someplace with you on Wednesday and it's a Monday, I'm not going to call and text you on Tuesday and do all this stuff. Why? Because men have things confused. They've confused a woman's interest with actual pursuit of him. You see, once they stopped doing the pursuit, women took it over. And so now we call and we text and we want. And all of that now has become a sign that we're interested, when no, it's really me pursuing your time, your effort, and your energy. Shall we continue?
And I'm talking to her on FaceTime. She started telling me about how she's cut people off real quick, and that's one of her problems, and that she'll cut people off without even talking to them about stuff. And I was just why would I invest?
Now, again, I'm going to stop him right there because he just said a lot, you guys. You see, this goes back to why I don't call and text and do all that stuff in the meantime. Because FaceTime and phones, it's not necessarily real. It gives you an opportunity to lead things into you getting your questions about, is my fantasy going to get met here? And see, what happens is that didn't happen. She came in vulnerable and truthful, and that was not something that he wanted to invest in. Now, here's the thing, you guys. A lot of you want, again, an awful lot of interest in your fantasies and your dreams, and you've made no actual investment in a woman to begin with. Now, do you understand how you're just confusing yourself and you're ending up with a negative one? Now, let me tell you what's going on here. You see, this is odd to him that a woman would show up and not be in pursuit because, again, you guys are confusing interest with pursuit. She's not in pursuit. She just wants to be vulnerable and truthful. Well, heaven forbid, that's how God designed it. He designed it for all purpose to pop off from a position of vulnerability and truth. You see it with Sarah giving birth to Isaac. You see it with Jesus on the cross. You see it with David and Goliath. Every situation of purpose in the Bible stems from vulnerability. So if a woman comes to you and she can be truthful and she can be vulnerable, she might just be, heaven sent, but you're not used to that. Let's continue on.
And going on a date with this woman, she sounds nuts.
Yeah.
She's nuts. The characteristics of Christ make you crazy.
So after that, I was just like, nah, I'm not going. We're not I'm good. We don't got to go on a date. But the problem is a lot of times folks, you wouldn't even have that conversation beforehand. You're so thirsty to get on a date. You're just going on a date with whoever.
So here's where he starts to admit the truth that he is under the influence of the world, seeing and doing what the world would have him do. Satan wants you to feel desperate as opposed to being vulnerable. He wants you to do what desperate people who are always looking for a means to an end, who are always having to play some game, he wants you to do that. Let's continue.
Right, then you go on a date, and now you're starting to have those conversations. Yep. And then instead of you realizing, okay, this was a throwaway, I'm not going to actually continue investing in this, you still continue investing in it because you're like, finally someone's giving me attention, because you're not in a place where you actually value yourself. And I'm speaking from experience because in my past relationship, when I was with my ex, I didn't value myself enough to leave that.
And now you start to see the bigger picture. That God stuff, that stable stuff, that Christian stuff, that I got it together stuff, that's so foreign to me. I have been living nothing but a life of chaos. That's throwaway. Stability is throwaway because all I know right now is chaos. It makes me feel like I have no value but a means to an end. So let me continue to be in desperate situations where I can try to prove a point to myself that I'm worth it. Maybe one day my partner will applaud me for it. But really, this is just about me trying to prove to me that I'm worth it. Because we don't know how to go and do it God's way. We don't know how to accept the vulnerable one who's a reflective mirror. We sit here and think we're just a means to an end. We're a pawn in somebody's game. Well, men, whenever you think that way about yourselves, you make it impossible to enjoy you. Think about if you were living paycheck to paycheck. You want to go places, you want to do something, you want to enjoy. Are you inspired? No. And so when you embody those characteristics, how do you think you're going to be to a woman who's ready to love you? Y'all ain't even going to get to the date. You already admitted that. But the woman around you, you're not inspiring, you're not enjoyable, you're just here doing stuff for you. I mean, why wouldn't she accept that? Now we'll go ahead and finish this
Why I
video.
wasn't getting what I needed. I thought to myself, you know what? I can get her to love me enough if I just keep on talking to her about stuff, or if I keep on and trying to invest in her, or I keep on putting time and energy into
That's
her.
what a real simp is.
You get what I'm saying?
That's a real simp, you guys. Yeah, American culture. Some guy who can admit, I tried to pursue a relationship. I really put it in there. But I was doing it with a person who couldn't receive it. And instead of acknowledging, yeah, I was giving good things to a person who couldn't receive it, you just overall think that the doing is horrible. And so now everything has got to match up with the fantasy that's going on in your head before you'll make any type of investment, because you're the one that still continues to see you as nothing more than a means to an end and a pawn in a game. And like I say, you guys, when you're the ones who think that you're a pawn in a game, then every woman, every single queen you meet is going to be nothing but a player. So I hope that that resonates with some people's hearts. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic background, your titles, whatever it is that you do, where you are in your life. If you don't see yourself as the provider in the eyes of the God, the way that he wanted it to be, of love, affection, all that stuff that grows the house, if you don't see yourself as that characteristics, if you don't value you and see yourself as less than, you're going to continue to pursue desperation as opposed to starting at the vulnerabilities. You can be loved, you guys. And I think that's one of our biggest problems. I come to realize me personally, Alicia, I have a lot of love to give. I am borderline begging. Let me give it to you, please. But if somebody is not capable of receiving it, if they think that they're a pawn in the game, it doesn't matter if I show up as the queen. I'm just a player. Have a blessed day, you guys.